have a secret agenda conspiring to take over your mind?
The answer is a resounding indeed, yes.
My name is AJ Spatola.
I'm James.
And these are the top 10 subliminal messages in Disney shows we can no longer ignore. We're supposed to say that together, dude. What the heck?
We can't ignore this any longer. That's why we're talking about it now.
At number 10 is the Illuminati Imagery. Now, if the internet is to be believed, and I think it is, then Walt Disney was definitely a 33rd degree Freemason. Now, for those of you who aren't in the know, Freemasonry is essentially a world-dominating cult made up of the world's elite with ties to the real Illuminati, and there's clues of this littered all throughout kinds of Disney's shows. First, there's the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. In one scene in the classroom, the word Illuminati can be seen written in cursive on a chalkboard inconspicuously in the background. Then there's DuckTales, where Uncle Scrooge sits all gloomy in a doctor's office on an examination bed, but if you look in the back right again, there's an eye chart on the wall behind him that spells out, "Ask about Illuminati." If you're still not convinced, remember how I mentioned how Mr. Disney was a 33rd degree Mason? Essentially, that's the creme de la creme in the cult. Well, coincidentally, Disneyland also houses this thing called Club 33, which is an ultra exclusive and kind of mysterious restaurant that only the elite can dine in. Coincidence? I think not.
Alright, so speaking of the Illuminati, Disney's Gargoyles has some Illuminati imagery in it as well. In fact, the Illuminati is just featured heavily, being this secretive organization pulling the strings from behind closed doors. Our overarching villain, David Xanatos, is revealed to be part of the Illuminati, who are shown to be this group manipulating wars and various violent conflicts, often involving the Gargoyles, and of course, profiting off of them. So no, it's not necessarily subliminal, it's just blatantly the Illuminati, but it is an interesting thing for Disney to feature in a kid's cartoon. Then again, Gargoyles, definitely more than just your run-of-the-mill kid's cartoon. It touched on some heavy subjects, awesome show, still holds up today. But this isn't the only conspiratorial topic Gargoyles dipped into. In the second season, Goliath is sailing around with Elisa for pretty much the entire season, visiting all sorts of strange places, diving into the myths and legends from various cultures around the world. And in one episode, they arrive on Easter Island in Chile, where there are those like massive mysterious statues, right? There's always been this conspiracy theory that extraterrestrials could have somehow been involved in their construction. Well, in this episode, our heroes meet an alien named Nokar from a top secret hidden base on the island, who we discover did indeed help in building the statues.
If you're enjoying this video so far, please support the channel by pressing like, subscribing to Most Amazing, and ringing that notification bell. It's free, so I don't see why not. At number 8 is Satanic Symbolism. Okay, I'm using the word satanic here, but the symbols I'm about to describe here are actually much worse. This symbolism is actually so disturbing that I'm not even allowed to spill it out for you on YouTube without the video getting suppressed by the censorship algorithm. But alas, I will not let the YouTube gods prevent me from getting this explicit information out there, so I'm just gonna dance around the topic and hopefully make it obvious enough for you to put 2 and 2 together. Okay, so there's this Disney Channel animated series called Elena of Avalor, which features a character called Chief Zephyr. Immediately apparent are those blue swirly triangles that cover his body. Well, as it turns out, that symbol has been used by, this is where I'm gonna have to censor myself a whole bunch, individuals who maliciously seek out the company of other individuals who have existed on Earth for a drastically short amount of time. This isn't just hearsay either. This symbol is featured on its own unclassified FBI document, which means that even the government knows what this symbol means. Why the animation team behind 2016's Disney Channel series decided to cover their character in such a symbol is beyond me, but it doesn't end there. Triangle also appears all over the place in Disney, from Jungle Book to Hercules.
That was pretty impressive how you danced around that.
Thanks, bro.
I've never even attempted that before. In at number 7, we have Cars. So one of my favorite things to pick out in Disney movies are like the subtle innuendos thrown in there. A lot of these are cleverly veiled jokes aimed at adults that just fly over young audiences' heads, but there's a great little joke in Cars that probably flew over pretty much everyone's head while watching. Audiences likely didn't even know this was a joke until the fine folks of the internet pointed it out. So there's this establishing shot where we see a sign for a truck stop with like truck stop written in large bold letters. Below that part of the sign are the words convertible waitresses. Now, most folks probably didn't even take the time to read the full sign, and I imagine even the ones who didn't really think much of it, but just let that statement sink in for a moment. A convertible waitress. Convertibles don't have tops, at least not all the time, and they're waitresses, so female. My God, they're top waitresses.
At number 6 is the hidden innuendos in Lion King. The infamous moment in Lion King, there's a scene where Simba flops down and kicks up some dust, and if you squint just right, some claim you can see the letters S-E-X in the swirls. Now this clip got a lot of attention, and Disney actually went on to confirm this when an animator from the film later spilled the beans, saying it wasn't S-E-X, but S-F-X, short for special effects, a playful nod from the film's animation team. Now, unfortunately, that still doesn't explain the countless other times throughout this movie where the same word appears with a clear E in the middle, like in the scene where Simba, Pumbaa, and Timba are walking through the jungle, or in that fire scene at the end of the movie. Are you still able to use that lame SFX excuse, or are you finally gonna admit that somebody on your team has problems? Not to mention the poster of the Lion is just asking for trouble, with Mufasa's very appealing snout looking more like the silhouette of a girl in a bikini.
Next up, we have a dark subliminal piece of storytelling from Wreck-It Ralph. So this is something the youngsters may not have picked up on, but adults, if they stop to actually think about it, probably did. So there's a flashback scene where Sergeant Calhoun needs to shoot one of the cybugs who just finished eating her newlywed husband. It's a pretty gut-wrenching scene, but also darkly funny at the same time. It gets even darker when you stop to think about what Calhoun was actually seeing when she was firing at the creature. So Calhoun and, what's his name, are standing on the altar. The cybugs burst into the scene, gulps the guy up in one bite. Then we cut to a shot of Calhoun firing without seeing what she's actually looking at. And at first, you assume Disney just didn't want to show a giant insect creature getting riddled with bullets, which is definitely part of it. But in the film, cybugs take on the form of what they consume. So there's a pretty dark implication here, right? Calhoun is likely shooting at a creature that has now taken on the form of her just deceased husband. Pretty messed up.
At number 4 is The Rescuers in 1997. Back in 1999, Disney recalled their 1977 animated film The Rescuers due to an unexpected inclusion. Buried within just a couple of frames, viewers could spot a topless woman in the background, something that had gone unnoticed for over 20 years. Disney clarified that these frames were part of the original theatrical release, but their statement claimed that these images weren't put in by the animators but were inserted during post-production. It's puzzling though, because these frames weren't visible during the normal watching. You actually had to know about it and freeze frame the video to actually see the stuff. The recall announcement was quite a surprise, because why would Disney voluntarily bring attention to something most viewers wouldn't even catch without specific knowledge? Some thought it was a tactical move to hike up sales by making it scarce. Others saw it as a proactive step to maintain their family-friendly reputation. Who knows?
And at number 3, we have Up. Up. What a charming little movie. How many try not to cry videos are there on YouTube of the opening of this movie alone, which could have been one of the best animated short films ever if it was just that opening, by the way. Anyway, there's a hidden message regarding the title of this movie. Obviously, the main crux of the plot is that our main characters float into the sky. They go up. Title, but there's also another more subtle aspect as to why the movie is likely called Up. In the opening of the movie, we watch as Carl and Ellie go through their lives together, starting as a young couple all the way up to early age. Not only are they growing up, but the world around them is changing as well. Their house, which was once surrounded by grass and trees, is entirely eclipsed by condos and skyscrapers by the time we see Carl as an old man. The city has been built up, and the corporate expansion has gotten so bad that it's literally encroaching on his home.
At number 2 is Winnie the Pooh. Now what I'm about to tell you is either the highest number of subliminal messages ever hidden in a single image, or proof of the fact that I have lost it. Pictured before you is the international release poster for Disney's 2011 film Winnie the Pooh. At first glance it seems harmless, but there's all kinds of things packed into this one. The most obvious is the set of horns which make up the negative space in the tree line at the top. Now, if you've seen the film, you'll know that the main villain of the movie has these horns, so it might be a stretch to say that it actually represents satanic Baphomet devil horns, but this is just the invitation to take a deeper look, because there's all kinds of occult stuff hidden in here. First, there's the fact that the bridge they're on has 13 capstones. The symbology there should be obvious enough. Then there's the Minerval Owl Moloch, the owl god looking dude, holding up gang signs to signify 666. Tigger's body position forms half of that fascist supremacist symbol from World War II, while his tail simultaneously forms the shape of an SS lightning bolt. Pooh is wearing a Phrygian liberty cap. The rabbit's arm position forms the Eye of Horus, and to top it all off, the character's positioning plus the plaid on Winnie's hat spells EXS, which, when rearranged, spells... Yeah, now I do sound crazy, don't I?
Finally, we have a famous Toy Story 2 fan theory. The idea here is that Jessie once belonged to Andy's mom. And Andy's mom is the girl in the flashback who abandoned her. So in Toy Story 2, we learn that Jessie used to belong to a girl named Emily. First of all, from what we see of Emily, she kinda looks like Andy, and on top of that, she's wearing the same type of cowboy hat. I wrote hate in the... Cowboy hate! She's wearing the same type of cowboy hat we see Andy sporting in the first movie. So could this actually be the same exact hat? Something she passed on to her son when she grew up? Now, of course, this could be a complete coincidence. Just fans overthinking things and drawing conclusions that don't need to be drawn because they don't affect the plot in any way. In fact, it's exactly what this is. But, you know, whatever. It's fun to think about.
Alright, as always, if there are subliminal messages in Disney shows that you think we've missed today, feel free to let us know down in the comments.
This has been James.
And I'm AJ with Most Amazing, and together this time.
Yes.
We'll catch you all in another video. Later, that was horrible. Oh my god.
Take on the form of her just deceased husband. Pretty messed up.
Damn, that's dark. That's dark. At number 4 is the rescuer friendly reputation. Who knows?
And at number 3 we have